Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Upkick MMA, episode 322. I am Brendan. Whoa, UFC 293. Who would have thunk it, huh? Israel Adesanya taking on Sean Strickland. We're going to break down all the fights here, break them down round by round, talk about some decisions, and then we are going to kind of talk about the future of the division, future of everything after these fights. So if you like that kind of stuff, subscribe to the channel. That way you know when the next video is coming out. I do 2 or 3 videos every single week breaking down fights, and then if you're looking for a specific fight breakdown from this card, timestamps are down below. All right, let's talk about the main event. Spoilers, and spoilers. Okay, I warned you. Did anybody see this coming? I'm being legit. Like, did anybody see this coming? Not that they believed it was possible. Did anybody put money down saying, like, for sure he's going to get the decision win? Because Sean Strickland just put on what I would consider a masterclass in defensive striking. Aggressive defensive striking. He used his defense as an attack. We'll talk about it. We'll go through it round by round. But holy crap, this was incredible to watch. And this isn't me excited to see Israel Adesanya lose, because I actually like Izzy. I think he probably is the best striker in the division. This last fight notwithstanding, it's just like this unbelievable, like it's not amusement. It's amazement. Amazement, is that a word? That can't be a word. But anyway, that's the feeling I have, where it's just like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe it happened. Oh, all right. So, fight starts out pretty standard. Strickland taking the front foot, Adesanya countering. Right? We all expected that. That was probably going to happen. Adesanya was using the kicks to keep range while he was against the fence, and then there was a hard low kick that landed for Izzy. Throughout this whole fight, the only really effective, consistent attack that Israel Adesanya had was his low kicks. I'm not surprised he didn't use it more, because he used it quite a bit, but I think he could have gone to that well more often based off of what he was seeing here. Maybe to the body a little bit more. I think there's openings for him here. I don't know. I don't know what happened. Adesanya was landed a body kick in this round. Strickland caught it. Strickland was picking up the pressure in the last 2 minutes, making Izzy fight against the fence. Nice right hand landed from Strickland, keeping Adesanya against the cage, and then a really hard hand landed from Strickland, basically dropping him, and then he started unloading with the left hands. This first round went to Strickland. Now, if you look at the striking numbers here, he did land more, so it seems like, oh, well, he was clearly winning that round. I don't know. It was kind of a nothing round. Here's the thing. If the whole fight had been how the first 4 minutes of this round went, this could have been a back and forth decision. So it's not that Sean Strickland seemed out of his element. I think that he's just based off of these current circumstances, he was just a bad matchup for Adesanya. What he brought to the table, Adesanya just couldn't find a rhythm, couldn't find something consistent that worked against him. If you look at the striking numbers here, 27-12 in favor of Strickland. A lot of those were in that last barrage. Look at the head strikes, guys. Look at the head strikes from Adesanya. Not a lot. 1 of 20. 1 of 20. Okay? That wasn't even his least efficient head striking round, if you could believe that. Sorry. Yes, it was. Just doing some quick math here. Yeah, it was. Brendan, you moron. Adesanya was, starting to throw more, starting the second round, starting with those kicks. So many of these shots are just slipping off from both guys, really. A lot of these shots were just missing, and their defense is so good. Adesanya wants to pull away. He if he wanted to pull away, he needed to throw out more volume, and I thought he needed to go to the body and to the legs more. The low kicks from Adesanya were landing well, finding a right hand over the top in this round. DC started, as he said, Adesanya is starting to figure out Strickland, right? This is when he's going to start to pull away from him. Adesanya landed a nice right hand over the guard, a jab from Strickland, countered the low kick. Keep that in mind. that jab countering the low kick. Adesanya looking for that right hand over and over, but Strickland was staying out of range. So he landed one really good right hand in this round to the head, but most of the other ones, he just couldn't find the range for him. Izzy definitely got this round, right? 20-16 for the striking numbers, clearly his round, but still 3 of 35 for the head strikes. Okay? This isn't to say, oh, how bad Adesanya is or how inactive, nothing like that. It's just Strickland's style does not allow for a lot of clean head strikes. Right? He makes people look bad. Case in point, this fight. So, 20 of 64 for his striking numbers, relatively, this wasn't his worst striking round, but it was relatively, not even pedestrian. He was throwing really good stuff. It's just Strickland was doing such a good job on him, dodging him. It was 19-19 going into the third round here. Boom. All right. The low kicks were there for Izzy. I said they were there all day. I think he could have won the fight off of low kicks, and I don't think he did anything wrong. I think Strickland, I don't think he did anything wrong by throwing them. I think Strickland was just walking him down and crowding him quite a bit and making Adesanya. I think Adesanya needed to stay on his bike and just kick. And I don't know if there probably have been a more boring fight to watch than what we got, but I think there was a path to victory here for Adesanya. Strickland was pressing forward, and he's just blocking or stepping back from nearly every head strike. Nice right hand and a hard left hook from Strickland. A hard jab to counter the low kick from Strickland. A nice body shot and a hard left hook up top for Strickland. Hard jab from Strickland again. This was a cleaner round for both guys, but Strickland landed some really hard shots to the head. Is he really only landing low kicks? Okay, so he wasn't able to avoid all the damage coming back in his direction. Like the striking numbers were in his favor, 21-20. Adesanya did outstrike him in the significant strikes, but you see here the low kick 7-0, body shots 10-8, and then the head strikes 4-12 in favor of Strickland. So I'm telling you, it's just the head strikes really made the difference here. 29-28 in favor of Strickland, in my opinion. Going into the fourth round, this is when we started to see what I would consider the masterclass style performance. Obviously, it all added up to here, but you could really see when he really started to push the pace, press into him, and Adesanya still couldn't find the target. This was his most successful round of going to landing shots to the head, but it was also Strickland's one of his most aggressive rounds, if not his most aggressive round. So, I love the corner work too in between these two rounds, in between round 3 and 4 from Strickland. Strickland's corner saying, we didn't come all this way to lose a boring decision. The way he was talking to him, like, you can fucking beat this guy. Do not go out there. Quit getting snake charmed by him. Like he said that after round 2. Fantastic corner work from both corners, by the way. They were both doing a great job. This was really high level, and I know Strickland gets a lot of crap for having like a dummy guard and like, oh, he fights like an idiot just walking forward, but it looks weird, but who cares? It's an effective striking technique. Like the Philly shell works in boxing. He has a modified Philly shell for MMA, and it works for him really well, especially with the amount that he spars. So it's just his timing and his ability to catch shots as they come in, right? So he keeps that shoulder covering his chin, but on top of that, he'll catch shots as they come in with his elbow. He throws it up the bottom. It's amazing to watch. This isn't new, but to watch against someone like Adesanya, who's so good at finding the target and sniping and finding openings, he just couldn't find any consistently. The low kicks were still landing from Adesanya, but he just couldn't land up top. Strickland was walking him down, finding moments with the jab. Strickland landing a nice right hand and a tight left hook. Adesanya lands with a short right hand. Nice right hand from Adesanya after missing 10 of them. Adesanya shells up, and Strickland lands like 4 hard shots in a row. Adesanya actually looking slightly uncomfortable, right? He's not flowing like usual. Strickland doesn't seem to have taken a back step in this entire round, and that's probably one of the reasons he took more shots to the head here, 10 of them, which is the most he took in any round. A nice left hook counter from Strickland off of Adesanya's right hand, so Adesanya lands one of those right hands, and then Strickland throws a counter left hook and lands clean. Nice. it was a clean round, and it was probably one of the cleanest rounds you could get against Izzy, right? While putting yourself in the fire and putting yourself in a position to be hit, it's as clean as I've seen anybody strike against Izzy. Pereira, they can say, well, Pereira knocked him out. Yeah, but I don't think he had clean rounds. I mean, he got caught and he leaves openings and stuff. Strickland just in your face, but doesn't get hit. And you would say, like, oh, well, Pereira put Strickland out. Yeah, I think Strickland learned from that. I really do. 39-37 going in the last round here. More of the same with Strickland pressing forward, Strickland using that push kick to the body. He started to use kicks, but not in a damaging way, more just like positioning and pushing him away. Nice 1-2 from Strickland. Adesanya landing a right hand, then Strickland going to the jab and the front kick. Strickland staying tight, landing that right hand again as he's staying fundamental down the stretch. And then as I write that he's staying fundamental, he puts his hands down and starts screaming at him like saying, I want to fight, let's go, let's go. Screaming at, like chasing him down. 36-21 for striking significant strikes in this last round. Sorry, I am verklempt. No, man, it's just, you don't see this. At least I haven't. Knocking him out is one thing. Getting in a slugfest, like when Adesanya got in a slugfest with biscuits. Kelvin Gastelum. When he got in a slugfest with Kelvin Gastelum, Gastelum's just got a chin and he just throws himself into the fire and then takes one to give one, takes one to give two, takes two to give one. He's just in there to trade with you. And by all means, that was a more fun fight to watch. Just the fight itself, not the circumstances. Like, that was a more fun fight to watch. It was a more barn burner type fight with both guys getting dropped and taking tons of damage, leaving lots of brain cells in there, right? That one was more fun to watch, but it wasn't the kind of, Whitaker, I think Whitaker was close in his last fight against Adesanya to doing what Strickland did here, but he wasn't able to keep the pressure on consistently and land enough to make the judges see it his way. Because if you go back and watch that fight, it was really close. Round by round was real close. It's just that he wasn't able to just do a little bit more, right? And he probably could have taken that fight. So that was the closest that we've seen. But even then, it wasn't this. He was darting in and out and making Adesanya do things. It wasn't this constant pressure and then avoiding all the stuff that's coming back at you, making Adesanya look uncomfortable. It was an incredible performance, and whether he wins his next fight or not, whether he holds on to the belt for a long time or not, his recent run has been incredible. I've been calling for a title shot for him for years now. I think that he's been overlooked for a lot of reasons, both the Adesanya stuff with, he got thrown to the wolves in a fight where, like a sacrificial fight, where Pereira needed a fight before he can go fight for a title, and they gave him Strickland. And, he works through all this stuff, and if you didn't listen to, it's really hard to listen to, but his interview on Rogan, it's incredibly difficult to listen to his childhood. Like, stuff that, I don't even want to mention it. It's so bad, the things that happened to him as a kid. And to listen to him talk about himself and the self-realization that he came to multiple times and that kind of stuff, to get from where he was to where he is now, incredible. Incredible. There's no way 3 years ago, when Adesanya was on top and looked unbeatable, that anybody would have put Strickland up there. I said that he should be fighting for a title. I didn't expect this, and I don't know if 3 years ago he would have done this. But after that fight with Pereira and coming up, I think he has put together. It's not the biggest upset in UFC history. I still think the biggest upset in UFC history has to be TJ Dillashaw versus Renan Barão. Everybody forgets about that one, but he was like a 1,400 a plus 1,400 point underdog or something. It was unbelievable. That's still the biggest upset. And then you got the Ronda Rousey one with Holly Holm. this one has that feeling just because of how one-sided the striking was. If Strickland came in here and out-grappled Adesanya for 25 minutes, we'd all be like, okay. I mean, even if it was a dominant performance, you'd say like, oh, no one's ever done that to Izzy. But to come in here and to beat Adesanya in a striking match, only using boxing essentially, it's just incredible. I think this is, not a once-in-a-lifetime performance, obviously, but once a year, if not more. This was incredible, and it just keeps the streak alive of crazy upsets, people losing their titles. It's just been wacky, man. It's been wacky. All right, let's talk about what happens next. We've talked about this fight a lot. It's a title fight. It's a big fight. It's a long, full fight. Lots of breakdowns. So I'm not mad about going long on this one. But let's talk about what this means for the division. Okay, so Dricus du Plessis was next in line for the title, but he said he needs time or he has to have surgery or something. He didn't want to step up to fight Adesanya at the time he did. Fine. Jared Cannonier, I don't think he's in a position to challenge for the title again yet, but he could on like a short notice type of thing, or if he needed to. I think Robert Whittaker, after a win, could definitely fight for the title. I think he could beat Strickland. I think the matchups are real fun again because we've had Adesanya as a champ for such a long time. Brendan Allen has been calling everybody out. He's trying to move up. I know he's ranked number 10, but he really only needs like 1, maybe 2 wins here to put himself in the title picture, depending on who he fights next, right? If Brendan Allen goes against Robert Whittaker next and gets a win, obviously, he's in title contention. So Sean Strickland, who is he taking on next? Who's fighting for the title? My money would be on Adesanya rematch or a du Plessis. See, du Plessis' whole thing was the fact, like, he is a number 1 ranked contender, right? But the big storyline was him and Adesanya. They don't like each other. One's from Africa. One's in Africa and a white dude from Africa, and one was from Nigeria and left, and like one stayed in Africa and he's just talking shit about leaving Africa. Like, there's this whole flare up, and they just don't like each other, and they built this up to be this big thing. That really doesn't exist for du Plessis versus Strickland, does it? I mean, I think I don't know. I'm sure Strickland will make it interesting. I'm sure he'll find something to make fun of or be silly about. But du Plessis, I don't know if there's any fire there. It's not like I don't think it's going to be a good fight, but there's no heat. I don't think anybody's clamoring for that one. But there's so many fun fights now with Strickland at the top. So I am excited to see that. My money is on Adesanya getting a rematch, although he just got one, and this is his first fight back. Maybe not. Because, he did have that long title reign, but this is technically his first title defense in his second run. So maybe they won't do that. Maybe Adesanya wants some time off. Maybe they will give him a Jared Cannonier rematch. Okay? In a fight that Strickland felt that he won. So we got some fun matchups coming up. We will see what goes on in that division. Real quick, the judges' scorecards. 49-46 across the board. I don't even think I said mine, but yep, that's how I scored it. First round goes to this. The second round is the only one Adesanya won. The only one. It's just an incredible performance. I can't say that enough. It's fantastic. Incredible. All right, let us move on. Finally, Tai Tuivasa taking on Alexander Volkov. Just another masterful performance from heavyweights, no less. Well, for one-sided masterful performance. All right, low kicks from both guys were landing really well. The jab from Volkov was landing early. Tuivasa countering the jab with a hard left body shot. Volkov with the body kicks and the jab doing a decent job poking and prodding and keeping his distance and landing hard when Tuivasa came in, dodging that big right hand and then making him pay with uppercuts. He landed this beautiful right hand counter and 2 uppercuts and a body kick to exit. When Tai loads up with that right hand, like I said, Volkov ducks under it and counters so beautifully. Volkov dropped him with a short right hand. It turned out to be a headbutt, but in the moment I wrote down right hand, and they didn't show it on the replay, and they didn't say it till the next round. So regardless, it doesn't change how the score the round gets scored for me because I had it at 10-9. But if you got that as a knockdown, there's an argument to be made here that was a 10-8. Volkov took very little damage in that round, and Tuivasa took a ton, 51-15 for striking numbers, and a ton of them to the head, 29-0 for head strikes in favor of Volkov. Second round here, Tuivasa still in his face, throwing those low kicks and winging that right hand. They started to make a big deal about how Volkov's lead leg was getting beat up, and he wasn't changing his movements, though. I'm not saying there wasn't damage there. Obviously, there was damage, but it wasn't changing how Volkov. So I think DC kind of keyed in on something he saw, which was legitimate, but Volkov just didn't react to those. And he mentioned it after the fight. He said, I come from Kyokushin karate, so, this is normal. Tuivasa overextends and ends up off balance. Volkov gets right into half guard. They get back up, but Tuivasa is just not landing. He's just not quitting, but he's just not landing. So he gets in his face. He's just not landing the big shots. Volkov staying very disciplined. Volkov caught a kick and gets it to the ground, gets right into mount, and then he gets an Ezekiel choke, 42-13 for the striking numbers, but it doesn't matter because he gets an Ezekiel choke. Fantastic finish. Not a lot of those, right? Obviously, Alexei Oleinik gets them, and he's another heavyweight, but from Russia. But it's just not a common. It's not a common one. If you mess around with jiu-jitsu, if you've ever done submission grappling, Ezekiel chokes are there, like a punch choke to the neck, that kind of thing. It's something that you kind of bully new guys with it, but really you're not bully. Like, you can use it as a learning experience, right? Hey, like, protect your neck, like this position here. And also you can use it to get the person on bottom to open up and expose their arm or do something. But you don't see it often as a finisher at the highest level. Felipe dos Santos versus Manel Kape. This fight was pretty damn fun. Very close, too, especially for dos Santos stepping in on short notice here. Hard low kicks from dos Santos. Dos Santos is aggressive in Kape's face, but Kape caught a kick and then countered with a straight left hand to drop dos Santos, trading in the pocket with Kape avoiding most of the hard shots, and then Kape landing beautiful punches and counters. Dos Santos is throwing some nasty shots, and he lands with a hard right hand and a knee in type. Kape grabbed the fence at one position in transition to kind of prevent himself from getting taken down. Hard right hand landing from dos Santos as the round ended. You could give this round to dos Santos. It was super close. I didn't. I leaned towards Kape, but it was so close. Each one of these rounds, they were decided by only a few, like just a little bit in the favor of Kape. Tons of kicks from dos Santos in the second round. Dos Santos was more active in this round, always keeping something out there. Kape with a beautiful slip and counter right. Kape was handling the distance really well through the middle of the round, staying just on the outside of dos Santos' shots and returning with his own. That's where he created a little bit of separation. And then down the stretch, Kape with a series of hard body shots and landing like 6 unanswered shots. Better round for Kape and a bigger round for him in general. 37-35 for this round. First round was 36-32. None of these rounds were blowouts. 20-18 in favor of Kape. Another right hand counter for Kape, that slip and rip style. Just constantly just moving just out of the way, like inches out of the way, an inch out of the way of a punch and returning. Beautiful. Dos Santos hurt Kape with a right hand, and they're trading in a phone booth. Dos Santos staying in Kape's face, landing hard shots to this round. Kape was landing really well. It's super close. Dos Santos was chasing Kape around the cage. Kape staying safe down the stretch. Kape with a takedown with 15 seconds left. Really safe move, right? He was staying safe, didn't want to chance anything. I give this last round to dos Santos. I felt like he did more damage. Even though the striking numbers were in favor of Kape, 39-32, I felt like dos Santos did more damage. He did rock him in this round. And let's look at the scorecards here. Yeah, that's how so Eric Colon gave all three rounds to Kape. That's understandable. David Letheby and Clemens Warner scored it how I did. And they gave that last round to dos Santos. And either one of those scorecards is fine. That's not bad. And then Kape was calling out Kai Kara France, calling him a piece of shit for not showing up for the fight and saying like, oh, for those of you guys out there, like this guy, like dos Santos is a badass for stepping up and this stuff and making fun of him. And then he called he called Kai Kara France's team a bunch of faggots. And then Fucking DC. DC pulls the mic from him and says, like, nope, you don't get to say anymore. I guess that's one way to cut a promo. Shit. All right, Austen Lane versus Justin Tafa. With the way that this main card started, you're like, oh shit, the Australians are gonna run this one. The Australians and they wouldn't be Pacific Islanders, although technically that's what that is, because it's in the Pacific Island, but not really. There's a word for people from Australia and New Zealand, and I forget what that area is called. I forget what it's called. But anyway, I thought they were going to run this card. I'm like, oh shit, they're going to win everything. Hard low kicks and decent body teeps from Lane, but Tafa he starts landing these hard hands, man. Lands a hard left hand and a hard right hand. And then Tafa returns with a left, and Lane went down. Oh my God. It was just constant fire coming from Tafa, and Lane just went down hard. He was out. Lane looks good, but here's the problem at heavyweight. Guys who are super athletic and have a decent chin can make it to the UFC. But unless you have timing and striking in timing, unless you're a wrestler, in which case, forget what I'm saying. But unless you have that, it's really hard to stay consistent. At heavyweight and be successful consistently just through pure athleticism and an okay chin, right? If you have a rock solid chin, you can go far in most divisions, but especially at heavyweight. If you got a rock chin, you can go really far at heavyweight. If you're athletic and you have a granite chin, you could become UFC heavyweight champion. Maybe not now with John Jones being champ, but in general, that is a recipe to become a UFC heavyweight champion eventually. Now, if you have good striking timing and distance management and really good athleticism, we're talking about Ciryl Gane. Okay, that guy, and we've seen how successful he has become, right? The interim champion, being successful, arguably he could have been champion against Ngannou if he didn't go for a heel hook. There was this mystique around Ngannou before he left, like he was unbeatable or something, like he's the best. And like the fight he had against Gane and the fight that he had against, I think Ngannou is one of those guys who's just a freak with power and throws everything into his shots. And at heavyweight, that works. It works. All right, Anton Turkalj versus Tyson Pedro. Oh man, this guy's nickname is fantastic. So I said this before. I said that that my favorite nickname in the UFC is Andre Touchy Feely. Right? I think Touchy is my favorite nickname, but this guy, thanks, Adam Miller is just a fantastic wrestler up in Grand Rapids. He said, well, you got to check out Anton Turkalj. His nickname is the Pleasure Man. I don't think it's my favorite, but it's definitely one of the best. I love a good nickname. It's just so out there. It's just not normal. Right? It's so not off-putting. It's off-pace. It just feels. It's like a left turn. It just takes a left turn. It's not something you expect to hear. Anyway, this fight did not go very long, so I'm talking about his nickname. Nice hard leg kick from Turkalj. Pedro on the back foot, returning one. Hard 1-2 lands for Pedro, staggering Turkalj, and then some follow-up. Tyson Pedro just dominated this one. It's landing those hard right hands, puts him out, puts him to sleep, and it is over. All right, I know that went long, especially the breakdown on the main event, but I think that deserved the time, all right? I appreciate y'all for stopping by. Appreciate Appreciate y'all for spending your time here. Subscribe to the channel if you do like this stuff so you know when the next video is coming out. I'll be putting out at least one more video on the prelims and the early prelims from this event. So appreciate y'all. Love you guys. Have an amazing week.